Hi everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into First Business Financial Services' latest 8K filing. Trust me, this isn't your average banking report, it has some interesting changes inside. This report is dated April 25, 2025. It's a current report, also known as an 8K, which companies file to announce major events to their investors. The first thing to note is that they've made some changes to their company rules, also known as the bylaws. This is because of their current leadership structure, meaning the way the top people in the company are organized. Basically, the Chief Executive Officer, also known as the CEO, is getting more power. They will be responsible for calling meetings of shareholders who are people who own stock in the company. The CEO also gets to decide when and where board meetings, which are meetings of the company's directors, will be held. Previously, the president had these responsibilities. They're changing who gets to lead the shareholder meetings. If the main chairperson, the chairperson of the board, isn't around, an independent director, which is a director who isn't closely tied to the company, will be picked by the chairperson of the board to run the meeting. If no one is picked, then the CEO gets to lead the meeting. It's a similar story for board meetings. If the chairperson of the board is absent, an independent director chosen by the chairperson of the board will lead the meeting. If there's no designated person, any independent director picked by the directors present at the meeting will lead the meeting. Now let's move on to the annual meeting of shareholders, which happened on April 25. There were a few things voted on there. First, they elected a director, W. Kent Lorenz, to the board of directors, who will hold office until the 2028 annual meeting. Second, they had a vote on how the company's top executives are paid. This vote wasn't binding, meaning the company didn't have to follow it, but it was a way for shareholders to voice their opinions. Third, shareholders voted on how often they should vote on executive pay in the future. And fourth, they voted to approve the accounting firm Crowe LF to check the company's financial records for the year ending December 31, 2025. Out of more than 8 million shares of the company's stock, about 6.6 million shares, or 80%, were represented at the meeting either in person or by proxy, which is like giving someone else permission to vote for you. Let's look at the specific voting results. W. Kent Lorenz was elected to the board. More than 5.6 million votes were in favor of him, while about 920 votes were withheld and 887,000 were not voted on by brokers. As for the executive pay, about 5.5 million votes were for it, while roughly 38,000 votes were against it and about 137,000 votes were abstentions, meaning people didn't vote either way. About 887,000 were broker non-votes. When it came to how often shareholders will vote on executive pay, almost 4.9 million people said every year, about 83,000 said every 2 years, about 641,000 said every 3 years, and about 136,000 abstained. The rest were broker non-votes. Finally, more than 6.5 million votes were cast to approve Crowe as the company's accounting firm, while about 77,000 votes were against it and about 24,000 abstained. Okay, this filing ends with the signatures, and that is that. What does this all mean? Well, First Business Financial Services is making some changes at the top, giving the CEO more control over important meetings. Shareholders seem to be on board with the company's direction as they approve the director election, executive pay, and the accounting firm. One thing to keep an eye on is that non-binding advisory vote on executive compensation. While it was approved, the percentage of votes against or abstaining was higher than the votes for the director and the accounting firm. It means some shareholders might have concerns about how much the executives are getting paid. Overall, First Business Financial Services seems to be in a stable position, but it's always worth watching how these changes in leadership and shareholder sentiment play out in the long run. But that's it for this episode of Corporate Decoder. If you found this breakdown helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe for more insights into the world of corporate filings. Thanks for watching.